the updates there. Let's head into the papers now. Well, certainly in the studio, I have with me Oladende Ario as well as journalist Charles Ideho. Gentlemen, good morning.
Yes,
oh, the Emir of TVC. Yes. Oh, really?
Emir designate.
Oh, designate, exactly. He hasn't been given the staff of office.
I'll get you
no problem. All right, let's begin from the blueprint now. Why Emir Sanusi was dethroned. An ex-monarch disrespectful, banished to Nasarawa. That's the Kano government is saying this. Emir Aminu Bayero steps in. Your removal, sad because you didn't deserve it. Obasanjo is saying this. It's illegal. Tofa is saying this. Certainly, different opinions there. From the blueprint, let's go to Daily Trust. Ganduje finally removes Sanusi, appoints Bayero as new Kano Emir. Dethroned Emir resigns fate to Almighty Allah. A move to local in Nasarawa State. I want to die on the throne, Sanusi said in 2015. It was a quote. Two dethroned Kano emirs in 57 years. Right. The last one was in 1963. All right.
His grandfather.
And that was the grandfather of Muhammad Sanusi II. He was Muhammad Sanusi I. From the Daily Trust, let's go to the Leadership newspaper now. Aminu Ado Bayero replaces Sanusi II as Emir of Kano. Deposed monarch moved out of Kano. AFC calls for calm and understanding. Okay, that's the ACF rather, Arewa Consultative Forum. That is the ACF. Okay, from there let's go to the News Direct. Ganduje dethrones Emir Sanusi and appoints Ado Bayero as new Emir. Why we dethroned him, the governor of the governor of Kano State is saying this, and Sanusi paying for his lies against Jonathan Omokri is adding his voice there. It's a good and bad news as presidency keeps mute, as former President Olusegun Obasanjo is saying this. Okay, from there let's go to the Daily Times, which also focuses on the same thing. Emir of Kano, Ganduje replaces Sanusi with Bayero. Why ex-CBN governor was dethroned. Government of Kano State is trying to explain there. Sanusi exiled to Nasarawa and his many battles with Governor Ganduje. All right, you see all that on the front page of the Daily Times. All right, gentlemen, the dethronement of any king doesn't come often at all. In fact, in the history of anywhere in the world, the dethronement of a king is not something that is expected. It could happen like as an accident, or it could happen out of any circumstances, but it doesn't happen very often.
This was expected.
Well, it could be expected, but you see, this is still the second dethronement in about almost 60 years.
60 years.
So it tells you that it doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
Anytime it happens, it's very historical.
Yeah.
Now, I know both of you have been watching the unfolding events, and I would have heard a lot of things from all sides, what led to what and how it happened and all of that. But when you sit down to look at the revered and the respected and the respectable stool of the Emirate of Kano, I wonder what goes through your mind. Let me start with you, Exactly.
Thank you very much. What I said it was expected. You will have been wondering why I said so.
Yeah.
Knowing Sanusi, he was an activist in the body of a king. So there was a conflict of interest. The mind working as an activist and the body being a royalty.
Okay.
What finally led to this, I'll tell you, was his speech at the 60th birthday of the woman of Kaduna State, El Rufai. I posted the video on social media. Unfortunately, it was addressing specific fundamental issues, which in sane societies should have called for analysis and then using what he said as a blueprint to solve those problems.
Was that the video he was talking about the rights for women and education
where
for
he
children?
Said that if you're a leader in the North today, you don't deserve to be happy. That he wasn't going to wish El Rufai happy birthday. He spoke of the fact that the North had the greater contribution into out of children's schools in Nigeria, poverty, maternal death, infant mortality, and all of that, including Boko Haram being headache to the Nigerian state. And it went further to say that they should know that the North is destroying itself, and that cases like ideas like what do you call this thing now? Zoning system.
Okay.
Quota system, God bless you.
Okay.
That gave the North some edges over some other states who, according to him, called from unfortunate states, has a terminal date. And that the North cannot hold down the rest of Nigeria. And whatever they may be doing there at Majiri and go, Nigerians are developing at their different paces. That they should stop thinking that the best way to secure jobs for a northerner is through Islam or coming from a given state in the North. It was very explosive. You see, but as a king, it wasn't his place to begin to say that.
Or maybe not in public.
Maybe not in public. Okay. There should have been a channel now through which you could pass on his ideas.
Right.
But at anywhere, it's very forthright, but without guile and tact. That's my conclusion.
So it was like doing the right thing at
in the wrong position.
That's your opinion.
Well,
Charles,
opinion, yes.
Charles, to you now, his grandfather was also deposed in about, I think, 1963.
1963.
Yeah. Exactly.
He came in 1954, thereabout, and I think 9 years later.
And there were beautiful pictures, you know, of that time when the father was it was the emir and came to receive, I think, the representative of the Queen of England, and the little young Sanusi II was standing by. It was the pictures I see so beautiful, so wonderful. How did this happen? What really goes through your mind when you see this?
Well, some people say destiny is something that you can't change, but I don't believe in those things. But I think in his own case, he actually helped. You know, he climbed up the ladder. He showed the people how to shake the ladder, and then they shook the ladder. And he fell. That's the way I see it. Because I think he forgot. He was not able to delicately balance the fact that he has left the corporate world and is now representing an institution, not just institution, not just traditional institution, an institution that is not ready to change, not ready to move with the rest of the world.
But the point there is, when we talk about these institutions, they are made up of human beings and people.
No, you see, the thing is that,
and the stool of the Emirate of Kano is very central to the people in the north, because after the Sultanate, that stool is the next. And these are very influential. So
yeah, but you see, that's when you look at the cosmetic. The cosmetic arrangement of the Emirate, so you look at it as a glamorous and highly revered. But you see, what about the feudal system that keeps it going? That's there's a will. There's this oil that keeps that feudal system going, and the feudal system does not want a breakthrough from the other side. You know, you have the plebiscite who are on the other side, and why? Maybe that's the one he was speaking for. But the feudal laws are not supposed to speak for the plebiscite. Or for the plebeians.
He was,
plebeian,
as an extension to the video that Oladeyinde was talking about. He was talking about the need for a change. Because he was saying
this is what I'm saying. I want to anchor it on me.
Okay.
You see, when you find truth in maybe there is an issue, you find truth in it, there is a wrong way to pass the truth. There's also a wrong platform to pass the truth. That's why I'm saying that, look, the Emir, even my own blame also that I have against him is that if he saw all these things that he wants changed, it wasn't forbidden when he was there to set up an NGO, for instance, for the girl child education. Was it forbidden to say, okay, this is I want to create maybe I want to educate about 10 million Amajiris, for instance.
But his daughter has been very vocal.
His daughter, no, I'm not talking about being vocal. I'm talking about walking his talk. If he said something was wrong, what did he do to first of all set a pace? He didn't do it, so he was always saying that the powers that be are not doing anything. He was also among those powers that be. What did he do? He should have done something to say, okay,
but the point is, like Charles said, before I come to you, like you said, the point there is that the office, because the word of an emir is close
power,
to law. It has
authority.
power. So it's just like the president making any pronouncement. The issue there, he goes out and plants a seed in people.
Look, the word of the emir is
couldn't
law.
that be seen
But
as a
what I'm
way
saying
of
is
gradually...
Yes. What I'm saying is that emir is kept by a system he's not fighting.
All right.
When you say he was sowing a seed, he was sowing a seed of discord and disharmony.
Whoa.
Between the masses of the people,
the plebeians and
have
the
been
feudal
so
lords.
suppressed by the feudal system, so that one day they will rise against the system, and that will destroy the system.
And it was already setting the
Unfortunately, those who worship at the altar of the system will do everything to preserve that system.
Yes.
That's why I told you, when he became the emir, the story has changed. The table has turned. You don't remain on that throne
and criticize the system.
No, please.
Okay.
It's akin to cutting the nose, the finger that's feeding you.
So we leave it here on the knowledge that the feudal system runs.
Runs the emirate,
feudal
runs
system
everywhere.
is not ready for a change.
And it was
and
also
certainly the feudal lords and the serfs cannot meet.
Let me quickly add this. Even the way he emerged as emir, it was also the feudal lord that also brought him. So it's now that he's...
Charles,
you don't buy the fingers that feed
Charles,
you.
all right.
Okay?
No, I give up here. All right, thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Charles Ideho, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
Olade Indario, thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right.
Take a look at stories making the headlines in Nigerian newspapers today. With me to do the review here in the studio is journalist Charles Ideo and public affairs analyst Oladende Ario. Good morning to you, gentlemen. Trust you're both doing very well this morning. All right, let's head straight away to the papers. Mind you, all the papers we have this morning are all talking about the 14th Emir of Kano who was deposed yesterday. But let's see how they report this truly big story. We begin with Daily Trust, leading with Ganduje finally removes Sanusi, appoints Bayero as new Kano Emir. That's for Daily Trust. And the leadership reports Aminu Ado Bayero replaces Sanusi II as Emir of Kano. Deposed monarch moved out of Kano. ACF calls for calm and understanding. The leadership is next. Aminu Ado Bayero, of course, being reported there as a replacement for Sanusi II as the Emir of Kano. Deposed monarch moved out of Kano. ACF calls for calm and understanding. That's for the leadership. News Direct is the next paper to check out. Ganduje dethrones Emir Sanusi, appoints Ado Bayero as new Emir. Sanusi paying for his lies against Jonathan. The former president's aide, Reno Omokri, is quoted there. Former President Obasanjo is quoted as saying it's a good and bad news as presidency keeps mum. Why we dethroned him, says Kano governor. To the Daily Times now, where it's also reported that Ganduje replaced Sanusi with Bayero, while ex-CBN governor was dethroned. Kano government is reportedly giving reasons there, and the former emir has been exiled to Nasarawa. And of course, the paper chronicles his many battles with Governor Ganduje. Let's check out The Nation, which reads, Sanusi deposed, banished as Bayero becomes emir. He is guilty of disobedience and insubordination. Government ACF call for calm. And finally, at this time now, the Vanguard says Emir Sanusi II has been dethroned and banished. Police evict Sanusi II from palace after brief house arrest. Kano Assembly in a rowdy session over dethronement. ACF, Junaid, Arawa youth leaders, others react. Nasiru Ado Bayero is now the new emir of Bichi. Well, still on this subject of emir, the former emir being deposed now, TVC News has gotten hold of Mohammed Sanusi giving a speech shortly after his removal.
Jama'a, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
In the name of Allah, peace be unto you all. We are always thankful to Almighty Allah God, in His infinite mercy, made me the Emir of Kano on the 8th of June 2014. I lived in good health for almost 6 years on the throne. Today, God that has given me the royalty has withdrawn it. We do say this every day, that being on the throne has a fixed time, and only God knows when your days will expire. Whether you like it or not, you must go. So we have accepted, and we are thankful to God. We would also like to thank the people of Kano for the love they have shown to us and loyalty. We are also thankful to our disciples and our aides. We call on the people of Kano to remain calm. We wish to plead to you to support the new Emir, showing solidarity to him and protect his integrity. We thank all our relatives and plead with them to be patient. We are reminding them that God does not make mistakes. What God has chosen is the right thing. We also thank God for giving us the opportunity to erect new structures in the palace and renovate old ones. We also thank God for giving us the opportunity to erect new structures in the palace and renovate old ones. We pray that God brings us even much more closer to Him. May Allah give Nigeria good leaders. Thank you. We have left you in peace.
لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وما تشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله رب العالمين.
Former Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi Lamido, reacted shortly after he was deposed yesterday. Well, back to the studio now with the guest for the newspaper review. I begin with Mr. Rio. Looking at the antecedents of the former Emir there, of course, he's been the activist, he's been the advocate, he's been the fiery man, so to speak. But how do you describe all of this in relation to how he ended up leaving the office? I mean,
well, they said there are forces that direct the affairs of men. We may not see them, you may not know them, but they're there and they take charge. From the readings available yesterday, he was said to be an Islamic fundamentalist who had a training outside Nigeria and then returned and was very fiery, preaching Wahhabism. Okay? Thereafter, there was a crisis in the north, in Kano particular then, that led to the murder of an Igbo man over, according to what they said now, that his wife desecrated the Quran. There were 9 people there who were accused of killing the man. They cut his head and they were carrying the head around the state of Kano. Emir Sanusi was part of the gang, according to that story. But what happened? The remaining 8 were dealt with by the state. They lost their lives, but he escaped judgment and was confined to Sokoto. And it was from there he was rescued by a certain man who got him a job in UBA. And when he moved to UBA, from UBA to First Bank, Sanusi also went with him. Remember also the case of the banks when they brought in recapitalization of banks. And some banks lost their life, some bank owners lost their investments. They were accused of sundry malfeasance and misdemeanors. Of course, most of those things were either not here nor there. And then finally he became the Emir. The Emir that came before him was alive when he declared that the only thing he wants to become was the Emir of Kano. As a sitting CBN governor, when he had crisis.
Indeed, he didn't hide it.
He didn't hide it.
He didn't hide it.
When he was suspected, he didn't hide it. That look, even if you sack me, not an issue. My ambition to be the Emir of Kano. So you look at him then, he had metamorphosized. Or maybe as they say, he has become born again. Because he emerged the Emir on a populist platform, whereby anywhere he went, you were almost too sure of what he was going to say. Unfortunately, he was saying the right things on the wrong platform.
And it seems to now be an anticlimax now, looking at all this. It leads you to the question that to what end now? What's the end? What's the end of all this? Was it indeed worth it?
His removal?
Looking at his removal now, so and all the advocacies he did in the past, all his quoted Islamic tendencies and all that, and now this.
Well, I think the powers that be, there will be respite amongst the powers that be. Because he was whipping off sentiments, he was almost creating a division between the powers that be and the plebeians. And then the plebeians are more in number. And then when you whip off sentiments, you begin to let the plebeians see their rights. And then that, of course, you are calling to question the existence of the powers that be, you know, who are seen to be perpetually suppressing the voices of the plebeians, so to speak. So now that he's been taken out of the way, there will be respite. There will be a realignment, there will be a recalibration of the system. And then what we are going to have now, you're going to have a compliant, so to speak, emir that will not speak against the system.
Right.
So even if he has anything against the system, he won't dare, because he will look at what happened to the enemies and say, okay, if I said anything, I was going to be removed. So the thing is that who loses? The plebeians will lose. Who will gain? The powers that be will gain. So that's what we are.
The feudal system.
The feudal system will gain.
Okay, so we are saying, okay, Nigeria doesn't have 3 main languages for nothing. It's Christianity, Islam, and African traditional religion. Yes. Because the notion of exile sounds very ancient. It doesn't, one would think that that has no place in modern day history.
It's not just happening. If you go back to King Jaja Fokobo, when he was deposed,
even the West, the Oluwo of Igbo is also recorded.
1996, Emir Dasuki was deposed to Adamawa State.
Jakolo too was removed. Jakolo.
But looking at the personality of Mohammed Sanusi Lamido now, with all he said, he's even gone on to wish the new emir and asked for the people to give him the support, but still went on to say, may God give Nigeria good leaders that it deserves.
He's still very active.
The last hasn't been heard of him?
No. Sanusi is intelligent, very brilliant. I give it to him. Somebody who will speak extempore and will be giving out facts and figures that you cannot question. But the point is, this idea of banning him and keeping him incommunicado or something may have a clash with his fundamental rights as a human being.
But he knew he should have, he signed up to that, so to speak.
They say when you go to war, you anticipate 2 things. That you will
either win.
No. You will want to take people hostage and then come away with their goods. But when things go wrong there, you become a victim. You are enslaved. That was what happened to him. Unfortunately, again, when you start a war, it was a war that he started with unknowingly. What you can determine is how the war will go. But how it will terminate, nobody knows. Unfortunately, this has consumed him. I only wish that he will be given the latitude to reorganize his life and move on. There must be life after he's been an emir.
But do you see that happening?
The disadvantage he has now is that all the very acidic and volatile platform that he had to ventilate all his grievances against the system had been pulled off him.
Yes.
But now he will hardly get any platform through which he will speak, because his movement will be curtailed, his speech will be curtailed. Everything about him now is at the pleasure of the government, because he can't even move. I'm sure where he's going to be, because where he is now is being chosen for him.
Yes, no.
Okay, so his movement is going to be chosen for him. So the platform through which he was ventilating all these things about the system and so had been pulled off him. Right now, Emir Sanusi is going to be lame dog, so to speak, because the voice will be taken away from him. In the meantime, I don't know how long it will. Maybe there's a new government later. They might grant him a reprieve.
Let me say this. There was a video of Muhammadu Remi, former governor of Kano State, being interviewed by Dele Giwa, where he said the emir of Kano is not a big deal. That is at the mercy of the governor who appointed him and can remove him.
And that is indeed.
That's how many years? That's 1983, 1984.
The review of the son of Obaship, Emirship, Obi, or whatever.
And to know its place in present-day Nigeria.
Exactly.
Indeed, Oladende Ario, Charles Deho, thanks to you both for your valid contributions on the program.
Let's get into the papers now, see what the headlines are. And I have with me in the studio Charles Deho as well as Oladende Ario to give us a perspective and interpretation to some of the headlines. It's nice to see you both.
Thank you.
Great. Blueprint is where we start from. Let's go there. He says, why Emir Sanusi was dethroned. Ex-monarch, disrespectful, banished to Nasarawa. Government of Kano is saying this. Emir Aminu Bayero steps in, and it's illegal. Tofa is quoted as saying this. Your removal sad because you didn't deserve it. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo is the one credited as saying that. Now, Daily Trust is the next paper right now. Ganduje finally removes Sanusi, appoints Bayero as new Kano Emir. The dethroned Emir resigns fate to God, to Almighty Allah. A move to Loko in Nasarawa State, and I want to die on the throne. Sanusi was quoted in 2015. Two dethroned Kano Emirs in 57 years. From Daily Trust, let's go to the Leadership newspaper now, and it says Aminu Ado Bayero replaces Sanusi II as Emir of Kano. Deposed monarch moved out of Kano. The Arewa Consultative Forum calls for calm and understanding. You'll find all that on the front page of the Leadership newspaper. From there, let's go to the the News Direct now. News Direct is also focusing on the same thing, and it says Ganduje dethrones Emir Sanusi, appoints Ado Bayero as new Emir. Why we dethroned him, Kano governor is explaining there. And Sanusi paying for his lies against Jonathan. Renaud Mokri is quoted as saying that it's a good and bad news as presidency keeps mute. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo is quoted there. Now, Daily Times is the next one. Now, Daily Times is focusing on the Emir of Kano. Ganduje replaces Sanusi with Bayero. Why ex-CBN governor was dethroned. Government of Kano State is trying to explain. And Sanusi exiled to Nasarawa. His many battles with Governor Ganduje. You certainly take that paper and you have details of some of the issues that were brought up, that were raised there. The Nation newspaper is next now. Sanusi deposed, banished as Bayero becomes Emir. You find that on The Nation. He is guilty of disobedience, insubordination. That's a quotation from the government of Kano State. Government, Arewa Consultative Forum, call for calm. All right, all that you see on the front page of The Nation newspaper. From there, let's go to the Vanguard now. The Vanguard newspaper says Emir Sanusi II dethroned and banished, and government of Kano is explaining why he was dethroned. Appoints Aminu Ado Bayero new Emir. And police evict Sanusi II from palace after a brief house arrest. A Kano assembly in a rowdy session over dethronement, and ACF, that's the Arewa Consultative Forum, Junaid Mohammed, Arewa youth leader, others react. And Nasir Ado Bayero, now new Emir of Bichi. Okay, you find all that on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. All right, gentlemen, this topic is going to be on for the rest of the week, because people will try to, seek implications and the fallouts of all of this, interpretations as well. Now, the point there is, the stool of the Emirate of Kano is very strategic, very revered, very respectful, and very influential.
And ancient. And
very ancient, exactly. In fact, there are several of them in Nigeria. When you talk about the stools, certainly. If you start from Sokoto State, the Sultan of Sokoto, then the Emir of Kano, the Oba of Benin, the Alafin of Oyo is there, the Oni of Ife is there.
And the Oba of my town too, Alake of Abeokuta, of Egbaland, yes.
All right, then you certainly be talking about the Bongom Jos, or the Trotiv, or the Ochidoma, or the Adrawa of Igide, as the case may be. But however, the point there is, in all of these, what do you think are the implications going forward? Because there are lessons to learn here. whether people see it as political or politics playing out, or there are tangible issues, but there's still lessons to learn here. Charles, let me start with you on this.
Well, I think a lesson to learn is that those who have royal blood in them, they should know that once they ascend that throne, activism, advocacy, activism or activist advocacy and traditions can't mix. Okay, if you want to be an activist, you know, you don't bring that into the
traditionalism.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because there are the institution itself is self-existing, self-sustaining.
And it's a conservative.
It's very conservative.
Okay.
I can't imagine the monarch from Oba Benin.
Whoa.
I mean, doing certain things that's out of the ordinary. So what they need to learn, people who are watching, that you don't dabble into politics.
But there was a short video that went viral
dancing shaku shaku
of the Oba of Benin dancing shaku shaku.
Yeah, but that's very private.
But it went viral.
Yeah, but that's very private. It wasn't meant for the public.
Hello.
I mean, he's human. He's human.
Hello.
He's human. He's human.
I saw the video when I was in Australia.
How you say was it Photoshop too? But let me quickly add that first, then we should also let the monarchs know. Leave politics alone. Leave politics for politicians. Because politicians don't have scruples, and I beg both to say so. They don't have scruples. So because the throne is a very revered institution. This tool, don't mix politics with that stool, because if you do that, you are dining with these people who don't have scruples. They don't care whether you exist. They don't care what. So if you are a monarch, make sure the monarchy is kept and revered. By the time you begin to mingle with politics and politicians, there's a problem. That's why you see some of these two, like you mentioned about Benin, the Alaki of Egbaland, and then the this one is what's the name? Adokiti. No, not Adokiti. Ijebu. Those ones, they have found that wisdom to keep to all the things that have to do with the monarchy. So by the time you are there, sitting on that stool, you are dining with the politicians, then you are calling, it's a recipe for disaster, which of course, Emir Sanusi's example I just brought to the fore. So those people who are still dining with politicians and so on, they are taking sides. Okay, in an election, they take side. In electionary process, they say, okay, this is where they belong. It is very, very, very risky. And that risk is what has paid this man very dearly. I mean, paid very dearly for it. So what I think we should do is that if you don't want monarchy, don't go there. But once you are sitting on that stool, make sure you obey by the rules, because don't also forget that most of them, they are there at the pleasure of the government.
Charles, there are people who would say that the stool of a monarch is very influential and should be an agent of change as well.
Well, change,
not just the political leaders. Now, if we have been advocating that they should also be agents of change in the right direction.
Yes.
How do we balance that? Because I like Oladinde to come in there.
Before I answer your question, I had it in mind. The late Peter Tosh, the reggae maestro, he sang a song and he said, if you are living in a glass house, don't throw
If you're living in a glass house, don't throw stones.
And he went further and said, if you can take no stone, don't throw stone. The Emir
if you can't stay close, don't throw.
The Emir has been throwing stones. Now, they threw him a stone and that finished.
And then they shattered the...
What am I saying? I watched the video of Delegiwa interviewing Rimi, Governor Rimi in those days, and was vehement in saying that the Emir of Kano, forget whatever rating he may be getting out there, is at the mercy of the governor. These are basic things. I remember way back when we had OGD as governor in Ogun State, the Alaki of Egbaland was going out and noticed that the roads in Abeokuta were in craters. At that party, Alaki mentioned it. It caused huge friction. And then they didn't hide it, that there was a channel of communication that Kabesi could have utilized.
Yes, instead of coming to the public.
So, what are we now saying? If you know you have the blood of an activist on a side,
go there,
and you want to be on the throne, you purge yourself, okay? Otherwise, the two of them don't tally.
They don't mix.
They don't mix, okay? So if you want to be an activist, don't go near the throne.
Yeah, but they say,
No, wait.
But they say
If
the
you
only
know-
constant
listen,
thing is
we
change.
just said it now.
That's
what I'm saying.
Okay.
Utilize the channel. There must be, I mean, it shouldn't be too difficult for the Emir of Kano to have a one-on-one with the governor of Kano State. It shouldn't be. Now, coming out to the open is a populist agenda. And for me, it could be taken as grandstanding. Okay? It's not like
But maybe that could also be that after a one-on-one didn't work, that was his own way of voicing out.
Then,
But
like
how
we
did he
said
pay him?
earlier, like he said earlier, arrange an NGO or something with your little resource
exactly.
or whatever. Do something.
Pick 10 million
Because,
marginaries
see,
and pick
my
5 million
concern now
marginaries.
is the future of Kano.
The stool for anybody to be Emir of Kano, you are going to get influence from across the world.
Yeah, I
You
don't
said
understand.
any
But
NGO, you
is
get
it-
funding from
yeah,
everywhere
exactly.
across
But
the world.
Let me
did
tie up
they
my
did
thoughts.
they exploit that?
My concern now is the future of Kano, the Emirate Kano, the state. Now, are they going to get any better? Okay? Or in 5 years' time, if we go back to Kano, Emirate, and the state, are we going to say, oh, it was nice they removed Sanusi, neither here nor there? Number two, we have removed him. Allow him to have a new life. Post the throne. He's a family man. He just got married last year. Okay. And he has children. He has bills to pay.
another wife.
To another wife.
Or to
Marriage is
to an
marriage.
additional wife.
Isn't
Don't
it?
let people think that's his first wife.
Marriage
To
is
an
marriage.
additional wife.
But he married a new wife.
An additional wife.
We
So
have to leave it.
Please, the idea of keeping him in solitary confinement should be reconsidered.
Allow him freedom.
to have a new
Allow
life.
him freedom. But as we speak, sorry, but the man is a loose cannon. If you leave him, the man has other platform he can ventilate. And
No.
But he's still in Nigeria.
He's still in Nigeria.
We have to
We
leave
know
it
that.
here.
Yes,
Work
yes,
and make money.
Yes,
to
we have to leave it here
sustain
now.
family.
Thank you very much, Aladi
Thank you.
Ario, for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Chelsea Deho, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
Thank you.